So I was binge watching this show on Netflix last night, a show called Wellmania. At the beginning of every episode, I noticed this cool little animation with the word Wellmania. And every time I saw it, I couldn't stop but wondering if I could recreate this animation with Canva. And this thought kept me up all night. Is Canva good enough to create Netflix grade animations? There must be a way. What if? Yeah. What's up, guys? I had a rough night, but I figured it out. Want to see it? So this is the animation I was able to recreate entirely with Canva. Alright guys, let me show you step by step how I could recreate the Wellmania animation only using Canva. So the first step is obviously to select the right document type. So because this is an animation, I decided to go for a video document type. So from the Canva homepage right here, you could click on videos. Okay, and I simply chose the first one right here, which is the classic HD video format 1920 by 1080 pixels. So I just simply clicked on this one document, which opened a blank document. So that is the base. The next step for me was to recreate the word Wellmania with a font that looks almost identical to the font used in the series. So for that, I had to grab the actual thing from the series, from Netflix, bring it to Canva so I could have that model, and then find the right font to reproduce, to replicate this word Wellmania. So the way I did this, I simply launched Netflix on my iPad, and I took my phone and snapped a photo of the word Wellmania. Okay, so that is the first thing I did. And then, because I also needed the animation, I actually filled my iPad with my iPhone just to get the entire thing. So that was the first thing I did. Then I airdropped these two files to my computer and I uploaded them into Canva. So now if I go to my Uploads tab right here, I can see that photo that I took of my iPad. You can still see the play button here under my images, and under videos, we can see the recording of my iPad with the animation going on. Okay, so these two files, in my opinion, are very crucial to have because I will need them as my model. So let's bring the photo to my page right here. Okay, how can I recreate this font right here? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is to simply create a text box. For this, I'm going to use my T key on my keyboard. Okay, this will create a text box. And I will simply write Wellmania. Okay, Wellmania like this, no capital letters because these are all small caps. And I will try to make this bigger, kind of like so, just like roughly imitating the size of this word right here. It's obviously not the right font, and I could just spend hours trying to find the right font, like going by them one by one and changing the font to something that might resemble this one, but this will take me forever. And fortunately, you don't have to do this. Let me show you a little trick. It's actually a website that will help you identify and find similar fonts to the one that you upload to this website. And in order to find this website, very easy, just go to Google and type what the font, WTF, what the font, just hit enter and it should be the first one right here. It's called What the Font. So this is the website, very simple, What the Font, instant font identification, powered by the world's largest collection of fonts. Okay, so it gives me some directions here, drop an image here to identify the fonts. So I am going to upload my screenshot right here. There you go. So check here to identify the selected fonts. So you just click on that button right here. And now you can see a list of existing fonts right here. Those are mostly paid fonts, but these are fonts that resemble the font that I uploaded here. The first one is called Jumper Bold. So let's go back to Canva and see if we can find a jumper font right here. No, there is no jumper. So let's come back to this list. Neo Metric Extra Bold, Andy Gambit Extra Bold. This one doesn't look at all like my mother here. Futura. Oh, Futura rings a bell. Futura is actually one of the fonts that was recently added to Canva with this new partnership with Monotypes. So maybe I can find Futura in Canva. Let's see, Futura SD Demi Bold. Then you have, let's see, oh, there's another Futura here, this one actually looks quite similar. So let's come back to Canva and type in Futura. Futura. There you go. Futura is here. Maybe if I bold it, yep. If I bold it, it does look quite similar to this font right here. Okay, so maybe if I reduce the letter spacing a bit, like so, let me see. It's not too bad. This is too big now, but if I reduce the size of it, it does look pretty similar to what I have here. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not exactly the same, but it does similar enough for me to, I would say, recreate this animation pretty faithfully. All right, so let's just use this font right here. Okay, I'm gonna create another page and I'm gonna keep the first one as my model. Second one here, I will paste my Futura word in the right size and I'm going to position this in the center and in the middle. Now, this was the first step, identifying the right font. I used a website called My Fonts or What the Font that you can find via Google easily. Now, let's move on to step number 2, which is identify the right colors. All right, figuring out the right color is going to be super simple because Canva has the color picker. So it's not going to be rocket science to actually get that blue and pink color. For this, all I need to do is to grab this image right here, paste it here again. I'm going to make it smaller by dragging one of its corners. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to click on the word Wellmania, click on the color button, the plus button right here, and locate the color button. Once I have it, all I have to do is to come to my pink and select it right there in the middle. There you go. And now I have this pink color right here. Now, all I have to figure out is the blue color. So there is a bit of reflection going on here because I was taking a photo of my iPad, but I figured the right color is kind of like this paler blue right here. So similarly, just clicking on the background of my project right here, grab the color picker, and there you go. Now I have this pale blue color all over here. I can get rid of the word. All right, Wellmania in pink, my pale blue background. I am ready for step number 3. All right, I am ready to start animating this word, but in order to do so correctly, I want to go back to the original footage and watch it one more time. So for doing so, I'm going to come back to my first page right here, which is kind of like my test page. And this time I'm going to go to my uploads button, but to my videos. Remember I told you I was recording the screen of my iPad with my phone? Well, it is right here. It is this footage right here. And now this footage belongs to Netflix. I believe this should be fair use, shouldn't get any copyright claim for this. But yeah, be always super careful when you grab footage from somewhere else. Here is just my iPad basically. So just want to show you the pace of that animation. So as we can see here, if I move the little play slider, every letter animates one by one. Okay, so Wellmania. So they all animate one by one, and then when the eye comes out, there is this dot of the eye bouncing on the, I would say, the leg of the A right there, boom, and then it bounces one more time to hit the floor, and then there's a little bit of a downtime, and then the dot jumps back like so to come closer to the A. All right, so to achieve this, I need to animate each of these letters individually. Okay, so I probably need to create a bunch of different text boxes, and each text box will have only one letter in it. All right, so let's do this. So in order to do this correctly, I need to create a custom grid using guides to know exactly where to position every single one of these letters, okay? So I'm going to start doing this. The way to do that is to go to your File button, and then you will go to your View settings, Show Rulers and Guides. So that's the first thing. You already see my rulers here, and if I want to bring a guide, I simply click within the ruler and bring a guide. Okay, I'm going to position the first guide right here. I can collapse this object panel for now. This is going to be a little bit of precision work at this stage. I can collapse this as well. So yeah, what I want to do is to position a guide at the beginning of every single letter. Okay, and this needs to be super precise. So I'm going to be zooming in almost all the way here and bring my guide so it touches the first letter right here. I'm gonna bring another guide and do exactly the same for every single letter. So you see the E, this is where the E starts right there. So it's this guide right here. The E needs to be touching this guide. All right, bring the third guide for my L letter right here. Then I can continue doing so for every single letter. So you see, you just bring your guide, and there's a little bit of assistance by Canva, showing you exactly where to stop. Go to my A, like so. This is a very important part of the project, guys, so don't rush it. Take your time and zoom all the way in. Just like me, I'm almost at the 400% mark because this is where you'll have the most precision. So here I'm going to take the body of the eye, not the dot at this stage. Maybe I can have another guide for the dots. So my dot will need to fit within this guide, and then another guide for my A letter right here. Maybe, you know what, I will get rid of the second one for the I because I might get confused with this guide right here. There. All right. Okay, let me zoom out and see where we are. Okay, this is not bad. Now I'm going to add another guide to place underneath everything here. Again, I'm going to zoom some more and make sure the W is touching the other letters. So the rounder letters like the E and the A are slightly under, but the flat letters, I would say, the one with the flat feet, like the W, the L, the M, the N, the I, and the leg of the A here are also touching this line. And I will have a last guide exactly here where my word finishes. All right, so let me zoom all the way out now. And maybe what I should do is to add one last guide on top right here. And again, I'm going to zoom in to make sure this one touches my flat letters again. So let me see with the W, perfect. The A, okay. Everything is now good to go. Okay, so this is my custom grid. And what I'm going to do is to lock this grid so it doesn't move if I touch a guide by mistake. So in order to do this, go back to your file, go back to view settings and lock guides. Now I can click all I want on this design. These guides are not going to move. All right, I have my grids. It is now time to create these individual text boxes and rewrite the word Wellmania in individual text boxes. All right, so for doing this, just simply going to copy the first one right here, which is going to be my model. So I'm selecting it and then Command C, Command V. Okay, I recreated this entire text box. So I'm going to delete everything, just keep the W. And I'm going to be using my first grid right here. Maybe I can change the color of this one. Yes, I will change that color to red so I can see which one is which, and simply paste my pink W right here using the guide, making sure it is touching that first guide right here. So I can zoom all the way and really go close to see, yes, this is exactly where it needs to be. So the next step is simply to select my pink W, copy it and paste it again. And this time I'm going to have the letter E and do the exact same thing. So bring my E letter exactly where it needs to be. So because this is a repetitive process and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing for every single letter, I'm going to speed up the video and show you the final result of all my text boxes aligned all the way to the letter N. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so this is where I am, and now I come to this letter, the I letter, and this one is a little bit particular. So I'm gonna skip it for now. I will come back to it later because we need to be able to animate the dot of the I separately from the rest of the I. So I will need to find a trick to deal with this one letter, but let's create the A which is going to be the exact same as this A right here. So I can just Command C, Command V the A and bring it right there. It should snap right in its place. So now I'm going to do the test of zooming all the way in and actually see if these letters are exactly where they need to be. Do I see any of the red title right here? I don't. Oh, yes, maybe here with the A, so I can slightly move it this way. So this is actually one of the benefits of using a different color that you can really see well, because you will see exactly if there is a little misalignment anywhere by seeing the underlying colors. So I don't see red anymore, so I assume this is super well aligned. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next step and deal with this eye. All right, let's now take care of the eye. An eye is pretty easily to recreate. It's just a rectangle and a circle, right? So I should be able to create that rectangle, that circle, position them where they need to be, and then when it comes to animating these two shapes, I would animate them just as if they were a normal letter. All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to create a rectangle first. So in order to create that rectangle, I'm going to hit my R key on my keyboard, which is going to bring a square, but I can hold any of the handles right here and reshape this square into a rectangle pretty easily. So this is the first thing. I'm going to change its color to the pink so I can see what's going on here, and I can collapse this panel for now. All right, so I have my rectangle here. What I'm going to do is simply put it here and kind of like bring it to the shape of the real eye. And once it is, I can position it, bring the layer right here. So this is my rectangle here. Okay, and I can see, let me zoom all the way in. I can see that this rectangle is within the guides that I created here. So this is perfect. Now, let's deal with the circle. Let's do a similar process, but instead of actually creating a square, I'm going to create a circle, this time using the C key on my keyboard. So you see this big circle right here. Now, in order to resize a circle, very easy, select it, grab it by one of its corners and just drag down, okay? Like so. Okay, I'm gonna grab this dot right here and start by changing its color for my pink right here. I can collapse this panel again to have really my full screen here to work with and to be more precise. So let's see this eye right here. So maybe I bring another guide and put this right on top of my eye here. Let me zoom all the way in and take this guide. Oh, it's locked, so I need to unlock all of my guides. So for this, File button, View Settings, Lock Guides, unlock them, and make sure I don't touch anything else. But right here, there's a guide right on top of the eye, the dot of the eye, and one right underneath the dot. I'm going to lock the guides one last time. There is a keyboard shortcut, but it's a complicated one, so I'm not using it. So let me zoom out because gets a little bit tricky. Now, because this one is hard to actually go get the dot of my eye right here, I'm gonna use Canva's new feature, the position feature, to click here and access all of my layers. So what I want to do is to grab my pink dot right here, this one right here. I'm gonna put this on top of everything else. So now, if I come here, I can really easily take this and manipulate it as I need to. Okay, so first I'm going to resize it. I can collapse this panel again. I'm going to zoom all the way in, and see if this is now the exact dimensions. Yeah, this is good. Actually, it's touching here. I don't see the red part, so I'm going to push this one below the red word to see if it's bigger or not than my original. Do I see the pink one? Very slightly. So I think this is actually good enough. Going back here and putting this eye on top of everything else. And now what I can do is to delete my model right here. So this right here, the red word, can go. I don't need this anymore. So simply click on that layer and then I can easily delete the layer. So it's no longer there. I'm left with individual letters, and this is great. I can probably turn off all the guides. I could get rid of all the guides if I want to. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think I will need the guides anymore. So File, View Settings, Clear Guides. Okay, show rules. Oh, I could just make them disappear like so that if I need them again later in the project, I could just come back here and reactivate them by showing them again. But for now, don't need them, so just gonna deactivate them. Perfect, let's move on to the next step. All right, the next step is to animate my letters. Now that I have them kind of like individually, you see every single letter is a different text box. Now that I have that, I can easily animate them, all of them, one by one. All right, so what I'm going to do is to select every single letter of this word and maybe deselect the dot of the I by holding my shift key and clicking on it. So you now see it's deselected, okay, but the rest of the letters are still selected. And I'm gonna go to my animate button right here. This should bring me to the panel, the animation panel. Make sure you are on the element animation right here. And we need to find the right animation style. It's probably gonna be Rise. Yep, this is pretty similar to what I had. We had baseline here. This could work as well, but I see the W and the E are a little bit cropped right here for some reason. Not sure why this is going on, but this is going on. So probably the Rise is gonna work better. So I'm gonna click on Rise. I'm gonna make sure the animation is on Enter only. All right, so now what I need to do is to adjust the speed of this animation to kind of recreate. So it's about bit faster than that, and still a bit faster, maybe something like this. Right, let's play this and see. Okay, this is good. Obviously there is the work to be done with the dot of the I. This dot needs to appear only at a certain point during my animation. Kind of like when the I starts appearing, pretty much here, let's say here, I'm going to select the dot and then use the three little dots right here. I'm going to be looking for a feature called Show Timing. Okay, so Show Timing right here allows me to make this dot appear where my time indicator is right here on the timeline. You see it created this specific layer for just the dot right here. So what I'm going to do first is to zoom in on that timeline. So this little icon right here, it says zoom page, and then you have two different things here. When you click on it, you can zoom on your thumbnails or you can zoom on your page. So what you want to do here is to zoom on that thumbnail part. So make sure it says zoom thumbnails. And then you can come here and zoom in on your timeline. But make sure you see these little thumbnail kind of like blacked out here. If you are like so and you see only the page kind of highlighted, it's not gonna work. The zoom is gonna be on your page. But if you click here and you see this section of the little icon highlighted, the thumbnail, it represents the thumbnail part, so these guys right here, then you can zoom in. And so without moving your time indicator, I am going to bring this, which represents the eye, only here. So it's not going to be showing until we get here. You see? All right. So this is good. We are making some good progress here. Just that when this eye, the dot of the eye is showing, it should not be there. Now we are going to animate, take care of this dot and animate the dot individually. So let's do that. All right, so in order to animate this dot right here, we are going to select it first, then we're going to zoom in on the page this time, like so, and simply move it down. Okay, so I'm gonna click on it again. I'm gonna hold my shift key on my keyboard and just move it down. Okay, so when it appears right here, when this layer starts, I want the dot to be kind of here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is to create an animation. So this is the new feature that Canva announced at Canva Create that allows you to create a custom path for an element and then animate this element on that path. So if I click here, so it says select and drag an element around the canvas to create your animation. Okay, hold the shift while dragging to create straight lines. Control the speed of your animation by moving the element faster or slower. Stop dragging the element to complete your animation. So before I start, I want to watch this one more time because this is really where I need to be super precise now and recreate this animation. So let's get into the details here, okay, of this dot. Where does the dot come from? Okay, so the dot kind of doesn't come from where it is right now, what I thought. So the eye is coming up and the dot appears and then it's kind of like pushed by the rest of the eye up in the air, boom, and then it's going to bounce on the A, exactly on the leg of the A, and then bounce one more time to come hit the floor, there, at the same positioning of the rest of the text, rest of the letters, and then wait a bit and then bounces back to be very close to the A. Okay, so need to reproduce this on my page number 1 right here. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna skip to this page right here and do that work. So first of all, this eye needs to be around here when it appears, okay? Okay, about here, but this has moved slightly. So let's bring back the guides like so, because I moved this bad boy and I need to reposition it exactly where it needs to be, meaning here. All right, now I can get rid of the guides again. I'm gonna keep this one right here. So maybe what I can do is to clear the guides. Yeah, let's do that. So view settings, clear guides, and I'm gonna bring one guide and just put it here because this is where the dot is gonna land, okay? All right, and maybe another one right here because the dot is gonna come very close to my A, but not touching the A. So dot should land here and probably land here and then bounce back. Maybe that's too far, something like that. All right, let's try this. Okay, now moving back, selecting my dot, animate, create an animation. So now is the tricky part where I need to be very precise when I create this animation. So very steady with my mouse movement and very precise. So I'm gonna probably have to do this a couple of times. So it first needs to come here and then come here and then bounce back here. And I think it should come a bit further actually. All right, so let's just try to draw this animation by clicking on the eye, boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Okay, that's not too bad, but it didn't quite bounce exactly on the A, and it went a little bit too deep here, and then it needs to stay a little bit longer at the end. So I'm going to delete the path and do it again. Let's go. Boink, boink, boink. Okay. No, it's not perfect here, so I'm gonna do it again. The end of it was pretty good, but not good enough. So let's do it again. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna keep this. So once you have a path that you're satisfied with, you can stop there. And I just want to show you, I don't think I'm gonna use them, but there are two different movement styles that you could probably use to create other types of animations. But because I want to keep this original movement, speed, and rhythm to the animation, I'm not gonna mess around with the movement styles, but you could go smooth. And if you go smooth, you see it changes the rhythm of it. Smooth is going to be very slow. So this is not going to work. Steady is going to be faster and steadier, but I lose the rhythm. So original here is the way to go. And yeah, I'm going to go with this. So once you're happy with it, click on done, and there you go. Now you should have your animation going on. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning and play the whole thing. Duck, duck, and boom. And there you go. the original one. And I think we are up to something, guys. I think we made it. So there you go, guys. We created our very own Netflix grade animation with Canva. 100% with Canva. We didn't have to use any external software. It was purely made in Canva with a little bit of creativity in order to get there, but it was possible to do it all in Canva. And I'm really happy with the result because it resembles what I saw on this show, Wellmania on Netflix. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, a couple of things. Leave us a like, this will push the video. Also, let us know what you think in the comment section. Super curious about this tutorial. Is it something you really appreciate? Let me know in the comment section. And finally, I would like you to create your very own version of this animation. Not with the same word, not even with a text box if you don't want to, but show me what you can do with Create an Animation, this new feature which is available for free and pro users alike. Like create a project, export it, and come publish it in our Facebook group, in our Facebook community. There will be a link in the description to our Facebook group, Learn to Design with Canva, so you can click there, become a member if you're not yet a member, and then share your animation there. I would love to see them. And I will comment on the best one, I promise. So yeah, these are 3 little things you can do to engage with us, with the community, and just share your passion with us. Thank you guys for watching until the end. I'm gonna leave you with a playlist right here, which contains other tutorials just like this one to learn a bunch of other cool tricks with Canva.